And from the national headquarters of RT America, right here in our nation's capital. Hello again, everybody. I'm Rick Sanchez. Our lead story tonight is Kazakhstan. Don't change the channel. I know. I say Kazakhstan, you're like, what? Right? This is actually a very important story with some worldwide implications that could affect all of us. So I say Kazakhstan, and I know what you're thinking, so I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen. Here he is. Yeah, Borat. I got it. For most of us, that's all we know about Kazakhstan. After all, we are Americans. Geography is not exactly our strong suit. So let me tell you a little bit about Kazakhstan. Okay, you ready? Most people outside the United States see it as this rural setting with lots of land and things like this. You know, farmers on horseback, usually barefoot. Kazakhstan is, after all, the 9th largest country in the world. Lots and lots of rich rural farming traditions and also a lot of land. But it also has some beautiful scenery. Take a look at this. Mountains and lakes and rivers and huge waterfalls. It makes Kazakhstan a big tourist destination. But you know what else is happening in Kazakhstan now? Big business. Take a look at the cities that are springing up all over the place in Kazakhstan. Skyscrapers, banking, bonds, manufacturing, tourism. Some of the reasons that Kazakhstan, BB, beyond Borat, is important to the rest of the world. But the most important reason has to do with oil and natural gas, the delivery of which could end up making Kazakhstan enormously important to Russia and China and Europe and the good old USA. Now more than ever. Why? Because of that guy right there on the left. Not Trump, the other guy. That man sitting there next to President Trump is none other than Mr. Nazarbayev. And you better call him Mr. because for 3 decades he has ruled over his country with an iron fist. Last night, though, he called it quits and said he's going to resign his post in the next election. That has the world wondering, and by the world, of course, we mean the Russians, the Americans, and the Chinese, wondering what they can do to possibly court his replacement. Why? What is so attractive about Kazakhstan, right? Why would the United States, why would Russia, why would China care so much about the land of Borat? In a couple of minutes, I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to show you. That's the difference. And I promise it's going to be big. This is the news with Rick Sanchez, where we do believe it's time to do news again. Jim Jatras is a former U.S. diplomat and a former U.S. Senate advisor as well. So let's get right to the root of this story. Would you be at all surprised if we start hearing that, well, all countries, but specifically our country, the United States, starts making entrees into perhaps having some kind of relationship with the new leadership there?
Well, the only word I quibble with is start, because obviously Kazakhstan has been a focus of attention for some time. Even Nazarbayev tried to hedge his bets a little bit between the Russians, the West. Even Lukashenko in Belarus does that. And look, they said he's leaving because of age, 78. I mean, that's barely older than Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's still going to be around. He's still going to be the head of the national political party. He's not leaving in disgrace. They're naming the capital after him. He's still around. There's not much of a transition here yet, I don't think.
Did I overstate the attractiveness of this country to most world powers because of its location?
No, not at all. And that's really the thing. If we look at where Kazakhstan is, China, Russia, Europe, when we think of Eurasian integration, the One Belt, One Road initiative, Kazakhstan is key to that. Now, what is the American interest there? Do we need that? Quite to the contrary. Our policy toward all of that is to try to block it if we can, stir up the Uyghurs in Xinjiang, try to strong-arm the Europeans, the Italians from the Germans from connectivity with Eurasia. And I think that's where the focus is going to continue to be, to try to somehow pry them out of this, scheme.
Hey, Kevin, I don't know if you can get a map up quickly enough. I should have warned you, but or maybe even the one that we used before. But if not, it's okay, because I think the viewers still have, as Marshall McLuhan would say, that visual script, right? Oh, you want to go to it? Here, let me stay there. Or Jim, come with me.
No, even
Get
better.
over here real quick. I want to show you something. Get over there, because I want to have okay, so as we look at this, and it really is, I had no idea how perfectly placed this thing is. As we look at this, is its power in location geopolitical or more military?
It's geopolitical. It's not really so much military. I don't think you're going to project, for example, American forces there in any easy way, even though we're in Afghanistan, which is not too far away.
But look, we got Syria down there. We got Turkey over here. We've got some of the issues that are going on right here with both Pakistan and India, which would be like on the floor over here if you were going to look at it. There's some hot zones all over the world that this place is very close to. I'm not, by the way, I'm just asking the question. I don't know.
One thing I think we need to keep in mind is that there's still about 20% of the population of Kazakhstan that is Russian. This is not like the rest of the stands. It has a much different relationship with Russia than the other Central Asian countries do. Most of them are concentrated along the Russian border in the north here.
Right.
So the Kazakhs are aware of that. They need to make sure that they proceed carefully and hedge their bets.
Final thing that I think is really interesting to a lot of people is we keep hearing now all the time about these pipelines, especially with natural gas that they're finding all over the place over here. These natural gas pipelines that could go all the way through here. I mean, Europe is right over there. Russia wanted to get its gas over there, and then there's China over here as well. So is that really the big play? Is that really the big attraction?
I would say it's pipelines, but it's also rail. It's also roads. I mean, again, interconnectivity, Eurasian integration, that's where it's at for not just Kazakhstan, given where it's located, but for the Chinese, the Russians, and for the Europeans.
It's a fascinating story. It's the kind really, when most people think of Kazakhstan, what do they think of?
Borat.
Borat. And now we're thinking about something more important. You're a good man, Jim. Thanks for taking us through this. I'm Rick Sanchez. You found us on YouTube, and that's awesome. But you know what? I'm also live every night at 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern on DirecTV and Dish and cable and satellite, the RT app, and Pluto TV. I'll see you there.